me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
What's up, film fans? Welcome to another new episode. Welcome to the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and I am joined alongside with the cast, the crew. Craig?
Just me.
Just me. Man, how's your week gone? Are you glad it's almost Friday?
Yeah, work's been weird this week. Like it's been pretty laid back, pretty chill.
Watch you want it to be chill right before football season, and then it just picks up out of nowhere.
I don't think my line of work will entail that, unless we do something along the lines of, if we go out and implement something, we'll make it busy for ourselves, but shouldn't have any interference with us, like in football time.
Making it busy, staying busy. We do busy here at the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Another new episode. The entire month of August is standing for A24 month. We had a fun episode, a fun conversation last Monday. If you want to go back and listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts at, we reviewed Marcel the Shell. So go back and listen to that conversation. Anchor, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio. You can even find us on the Prescribed Films Network over at the PFPN. Just go to www.prescribedfilms.com. Another easy way to find wherever you listen or wherever you want to listen to us at is just check our social media. Facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, Instagram /the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, and then the Twitter is at Cine-Men405. You can find the link tree in every single one of those social media pages. And then you can send us some emails at cinemen921@gmail.com. And we read the email bag every Monday. So for the bonus episodes, though, on Thursdays, everybody who has joined on the podcast, special guest Nick, Craig, Zach, Ed, everybody got to choose their own A24 movie. So, Craig, before we dive into this extraordinary movie that you picked, the main reason you picked it was silence. Can't hear you.
Robert Pattinson went through. We were like, pick a A24 movie and we'll talk about it. And I was just like, well, we've gone over Midsummer, we've gone over this. We're gonna do this one. So I was just kind of like, Robert Pattinson's a familiar face. Let's shoot for it.
And boy, I'm excited just to get some thoughts. So let's dig into it. If you guys have never heard a bonus episode before, we're in and we're out. They're ad-free shows, segment-free shows. We dedicate the entire hour, 45-minute conversation to just the movie. And if you have any recommendations or anything you want to recommend for a bonus episode, always email us, cinemen921@gmail.com. But Highlife, starring Robert Pattinson, had a release of November 7th, 2018, with a budget of $8 million. And unfortunately, it only grossed $2.8 million at the box office. IMDb has it at 5.8. Rotten Tomatoes is at 82%. The Metascore is at 77%, while the Google users have it at 65%. Starring Robert Pattinson, Juliette Binoche, Andre 3000, Mia Goth, Argentina Buzik, and written and directed by Claire Denis.
I think it's Agatha. Uzak?
What did I say?
Argentina.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
A father and his daughter struggle to survive in deep space where they live in isolation.
That synopsis does it fits it, but it doesn't give you everything.
It's the spoiler-free synopsis. So again, if you guys have if you guys have not seen this movie, everything now is spoiler heavy. But I believe you can also check this movie out on the Showtime subscription through Hulu.
Showtime, yep.
You can also rent it on YouTube TV, Google Play, Vudu for $12.99, or no, for $4.99 and $3.99 respectively. Or you can just buy it on Apple TV for $12.99. I'm surprised this is not one of the movies included in the HBO Max subscription, because A24 just unloaded a bunch of movies onto HBO Max, but this is not one
Yeah,
of them.
it's probably finishing up its contract with them. Showtime, they probably buy it for, we'll buy it for a 2-year rental period, and we'll have it on our service, and it's probably still in that time frame.
So usually we do the first time versus now for the start of the episodes, but Craig, this was your first time, so
Very first time.
Interesting thoughts, or if you had one word to describe the movie after your first time watch.
Uh, uh, Different. It was just different. Like I mean, but that's A24, so.
I've only seen this movie twice, and honestly, the first time I watched it, I was just kind of disappointed because of how many good reviews this got. And again, it's Robert Pattinson. But this second time around, I kind of enjoyed it just a little bit more. I still found it a little too slow paced.
Yeah, that was definitely.
So getting into it, you get to meet Monty and his daughter, Willow,
right off the bat,
which is kind of
I was confused for a second. I was like, I watched the trailer beforehand, and I saw all these people in it. I didn't go check out the cast or anything. I just saw Robert Pattinson on the cover. That's all I knew. And then I watched the trailer, and I started in the movie, and it's just him and the child. I was like, okay, then we'll start seeing them. And no, it's real quiet. You see him kind of working in the garden here and there, talking about the ship and everything. And
so the first 15 minutes really is before Willow is born, which technically, were you still confused? I'm a little dumbfounded, I guess. But Willow she's the bastard kid of the semi-rape session in the middle of the movie, right?
No. So, I mean, if you want to jump all the way through it, so yes, boys does get semi-raped, but I don't think.
No. Willow is the nurse doctor. Hold on, let me pull up here. The nurse doctor
is Dibs,
right? She's the one who climbs on top of Pattinson middle throughout the movie, right?
Yes.
And is that Willow's mom?
She extracts the semen and puts it into Mia Goth's character, Boys,
right?
The one who was raped by
earlier in the film,
Ittori, Ewan Mitchell's character. Yeah. But it's just, it talks about how they're all troubled and they're all put on the ship as a second chance. When in all actuality, there is no second chance. You're just put on the ship as kind of
guinea pigs.
You find out that the doctor was put in for malpractice, and her chance to leave that and get out of there is to produce an offspring. So it's just a weird all-around kind of storyline plot. But I mean, the main thing. So I watched this movie with some noise canceling headphones.
Okay.
And so when he's out in space with the ratchet while the baby's in the kind of makeshift crib, it's noise canceling. So I had no outside noise. It felt like I was in that vacuum sealed space. And I would, like, if you have noise canceling headphones, I would highly recommend it on a watch for this movie, because every time he opens up the door to space, like when he dumps the bodies or when he's out there working on it, you just have that compressed like nothingness in there. And it was honestly very adding to the experience of the movie.
So let me ask you for this. This is kind of jumping a little off subject, but the whole point what do you prefer now, since you've been getting on, various podcasts and kind of just talking about different kind of film? Do you still enjoy the old school, watching the TV in an open area with multiple people around you or the family around you? Or if you're watching it for something like a subject matter, do you just focus in on your monitor with headphones, or what do you do
Uh,
now, or what do you
well,
prefer now?
so this week I've actually kind of tried to do a movie a night. Sometimes it's bled into something else. But I moved our recliner just in front of my 82-inch TV. Uh, and I usually stream off Apple TV. And I went and got some of those AirPod Maxes. Guy had a pretty good deal on them. So it's noise canceling. I'm there in my chair. I'm reclining. It's right there, and I'm all in. I'm focused.
Nice. And
But like
you just connect the headphones to the Apple TV.
Apple TV, yeah, and it's wireless. It plays through.
Nice.
But it just kind of lately that's what I've been doing. But it kind of depends on what I'm watching. Like if it's a comedy or something, I'd rather have it open air and listen to people. But if it's kind of like I went ahead and watched Ed's movie in the coming weeks. Under the Silver Lake did the same thing, just in the recliner, popcorn, movie up. So
yeah, for the first, you kind of get, I guess, like an ass backwards beginning. You see Monty and Willow, and then what about something about this movie? Do you prefer like physical performances, like how you heard hardly any dialogue the first 20 minutes? He was just performing and moving the bodies, and just he had that physical aspect of him. Or do you enjoy more of like the vocal performances?
yeah, I mean, in something like this, where really there's nobody else for him to talk to, it's just Willow. So even with technically somebody else on screen, there's no back and forth dialogue. So movement is everything in the initial moments with him and Willow.
Have you ever seen the movie Passengers with Chris
Uh,
Pratt and Jennifer
and
Lawrence?
yeah.
I know this is way more like rated R than that movie, but I kind of got some vibes off of that.
Yeah, for sure. And now that you bring it up, that is exactly what I was thinking of. Because like they get a 24-hour rental on Life, basically. They have to log everything they do, say that they are still in good health and good conditions. Otherwise, the ship's just going to shut down, which is weird because how are those? I mean, it's a movie, but how are those logs communicating back and forth when they're so far away?
Yeah, I know. In after the title card, you don't see the title opening of the actual title of the
like
movie
20
for
minutes.
20 minutes into it. But a little bit after that, you finally get to see the guy conducting the experiment, sending the prisoners up into space. You see him down on the ground, on the train talking to whoever he's talking to.
Yeah.
And he said that it would take them years to get their information back.
Yeah.
What decade would you say that they might be in? I know in the
That the
special
movie
features
was set in.
yeah, like on the ground. In the special features, the actors didn't even know, and they were just guessing like 80s. I think Robert Pattinson guessed 70s or 60s. It was just
Yeah. My guess would be the same as theirs. They were in the movie,
Even Andre Benjamin was like, "Man, this movie was made in the fucking 80s." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What?
But I thought it was cool that after the initial part where he dumps the bodies out because he's like, you know what, they're dead. There's really not. They're not going to come back. I can't harvest them. Let me just send them out. Kind of do a ceremony or whatever to get them out. I don't. Maybe it was like him just knowing they were still on the ship, like there was hope or something for him. But after he dumps about, it kind of jumps back to the start and how everything happened. And when he said they kicked it into hyperspeed, and he was like, it was a weird sensation because you're going faster than light. Everything's accelerated. The guy ends up getting leukemia and dies right off the bat. It was very Passengers. It was very Interstellar. The score on this made this extremely eerie.
I listened to the score just in the car. I had to do a lot of driving around for work today, and that's all I listened to. and the score just by itself was, yeah, like you said, really really eerie. Made me feel like I was getting ready to watch like Alien
Yeah,
or something like that, and it was
and
pretty unique.
it, and it was, man, it's just like, I know we talked about it last week, how with the scores and everything, like this is A24 at its core. This is simple. It's all
Just
camera
weird.
placement. It's the angles, the dialogue, the way it's acted, the actors in it. Mia Goth is an X.
The
Andre
cinematography,
3000.
like the cinematography whenever like the daughter is picking up the fruit or the strawberries and they're eating
Yeah,
it just in like the little garden, just
she's over in the corner. Like
yeah.
it's very like A24 has their signature down, and if you're a real film fan, you know exactly what we're talking about. Maybe not even a film fan, but an A24 fan, you know exactly what we're talking about. They had it down. This movie came out 2018.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of their more recent, but they had it down. The cast was very weird. Um, just felt like, I don't know. The cast just like, you could tell it was very.
Something
Is
something to me.
A24 UK based?
No, I mean the I think the production studios here in the States, but they do a lot of like British films and
Okay.
Australian films. Yeah.
Because it just felt like the actors were. I mean, because Robert Pattinson's UK, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
he's
I
he's
think
from England.
everybody in this movie except for Andre
Andre,
3000.
um,
Which, let's talk about him for a minute. I don't think we've ever talked about him on the show because he's only done like a handful of movies like this,
Tropic,
Four Brothers,
Four Brothers, the movie Jackie Moon, whatever
Semi
that movie,
Pro.
Semi Pro.
Yeah, so he hasn't done that many, but you know what? If those are the only three I can think of on the top of my head, he was a joy to watch in all three of these movies,
For
including
sure,
this
for
one.
sure.
So
He's not an actor that necessarily, musician that necessarily goes out and tries to um, be more than what he knows he is. He knows he's kind of a character that's there. I think Semi Pro might have been his biggest. Well, Four Brothers is his biggest, but
yeah,
Semi Pro he was, on the screen predominantly for
yeah,
that. But as the character, for what the character was in this movie, I think he played it perfectly. I don't know what he was there for. Was it murder or
yeah. That's one thing it didn't really describe for each one. I don't think.
yeah? None of them had an exact like what happened, but I know that he was saying like, I would be rather be remembered for doing something or trying than
Yeah.
being down there and just being a piece of shit or something like that. But
What's your thought on the whole fuck box scene?
yeah, it's like she was trying to get herself pregnant,
Yeah.
but she's like gathering up everybody's
It's almost like,
liquids,
yeah, it's almost like a science experiment.
and she's like trying to forcefully, yeah, weird. Well,
I
the
tell
doctor
you,
herself was weird. She handed out the water and the pills. She was basically the Ettore or Ettore, Ewan Mitchell's character. He called them treats.
oh yeah,
And she added sedation to the water to kind of control everybody. And Robert Pattinson even said it which his dialogue where he was narrating kind of everything that was going on outside of the actual dialogue, I thought was great. It added a little more insight to what was happening in the movie.
you
But
brought up the
he was
noise.
saying,
You brought up the whole. You brought up the noise canceling headphones. I was going to bring up also like I watched this movie with subtitles,
mhm,
and it did me justice, especially when sometimes like sometimes there's so much talking going on, and then like during the rape scene and stuff, or there's so much whispering going on, the
yeah.
subtitles helped out a lot. But you probably didn't. I mean, you probably didn't
I
need them
can't
because of
remember if
the
I had the
headphones.
subtitles on or not. I usually do with these movies, just so I can kind of like, if I'm hearing something but I don't know exactly what's being said, then I'll just kind of glance down at it. That way I have full understanding of what's going on. But yeah, the box was weird because it wasn't just her. Like the guy, again, Itor went in there and used it himself. So I don't know what it was, but um, Robert Pattinson's character Monty was just kind of like, I keep my liquids to myself.
Yeah.
I don't indulge in this stuff because it's not. I mean, it's just honestly, it's weird. Regardless of what time they were set in the movie, it's weird. And the scene that she did was weird.
What did you get from the black water, the white water, all those liquids? I mean,
Yeah, it's just. I mean, you're in space, so you can't produce water just out of nowhere. So the poop, the pee, the sweat,
they were all just compost
the
almost, right?
the laundry, everything was recycled. It was cleaned up, disposed, and the clear water came back through. So he was saying, like, he told Willow, he's like, don't eat your poop, don't eat your pee. So it's very survival based.
Yeah.
This movie had a lot of elements, a lot of influences, I think, for what it was. Even though like the movie itself is it's different, man. I'm not going to say it was hard to watch, but it was so uncomfortable. And I think you probably might have had the same.
Yeah. It was definitely one of those movies that was so uncomfortable. But if it's your first time, you almost can't or don't want to look away.
You were like glued to it. It was like a weird, like, it's so weird. I can't, like, yeah.
Almost like and in some aspects, it felt like a documentary.
Kind of, yeah.
To where you couldn't,
where the narration was happening, and
to where you couldn't walk away and not watch, especially when they were treating the prisoners like prisoners, or they were having the exercises or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it is. It was very, there's really nobody there, to kind of like force them to do anything.
Yeah.
But they were still all unified. So I don't know if that was them kind of following the procedures, because they probably told them like, hey, if you don't follow procedures, we shut it down. You die instantly. There's no hope.
Pattinson almost felt like Robert Pattinson's character almost felt like he was just super, like almost felt like he was the law. Like, he didn't want to go back to what was on Earth, so it felt like he took the opportunity and just tried to run with it.
Yeah.
So if anybody was like carving into the walls, like Mia Goth's character was,
I'm not sure exactly why he stopped her or anything.
Maybe he didn't want her to get punished.
Possibly, maybe he knew that would endanger everything, and but when they end up going off, doing off with Itor's character, after he kind of gets a hold of boys, it goes downhill from there and quick. I mean, because you're done with the guy who had leukemia, and he was kind of the guy that reported every day, so they had to find somebody else that did that. And then you had that guy that was gone. Boys is supposed to be, I think, was it Juliet Dibbs' character, or the doctor was supposed to be going towards a black hole or something. But
Yeah.
Boys goes off and does it herself, and her head explodes in the suit. Like,
she died a painful fucking death. Like, I watched that.
Well, but we see that, and that's exactly what Robert Pattinson's character does. They go towards the black hole.
Yeah.
So is that what happens to them?
See, now you're getting into just like fantasy booking, because
that's not really fantasy booking. No, I know it ends, but
the movie just ends, and I'm kind of like, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, because it shows them like in a golden light, kind of holding each other, and I think that kind of symbolizes that yes, they did pass, they went through it, and they have the same fate as Boys.
So you personally don't think they survived?
No. I know she said that the black hole was, not as accelerated as the other ones. This is probably the one that they were looking for, and this is the one to get all the data they needed so that they could go home. But yeah, I mean that's the movie in a nutshell. It's
Yeah.
they're basically given a quote unquote second chance in a spaceship that's a prison. They're given a 24-hour rental on life every day. They were up there for about 4,000 days. It was like 3,500, I think, is about the time that he showed Willow when she was around 12 or so. Not 12, but around, it was like 8 or 9, 10. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. You talking about the going into the final
Yeah,
scene, the final act?
the final act with when Willow was grown up.
So do you think, and I mean, we pretty much explained the whole movie in a nutshell, but do you think that that would you say that 4,000 days? What did you guesstimate that to be? What, like?
4,000 days. I mean, 3,000 days would be, or 3,650 would be 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, even though Willow, do you think she didn't look like a 10-year-old though? It felt like she almost, and honestly, when it skipped to the scene where they were laying in bed together, I was like, "Whoa, did
She
he
looked
already?"
14.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Did he find another girl to hook up with already?
Yeah, it was weird because it immediately like jumped to it
Yeah. So I almost kind of also felt like, did she age faster than normal?
because
Or
of the
she?
speed of light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might. I think that might have been.
And I could have sworn, but at the beginning of the movie, when the baby was chilling in the playpen while he was up, that baby's probably a year old. Did that baby not have a full set of teeth?
Well, I mean, that could be
I mean, I didn't know if that was already an early sign of, hey, this baby is aging super, super quick because of space.
maybe.
I just had to take a double look, and I'm like, that baby looks about a year old and has already got a full mouth of teeth.
Yeah, I mean, she was eating. He was grinding up the potatoes and stuff like that from the garden, and was feeding it to her. So she had to have been at least a year. Um,
So some issues with the film. I know I at least had some issues pacing, not only the first time but also the second time. This movie's give or take like an hour and 48 minutes.
it was 210.
Was it?
I think
I
so.
think I think it probably felt 210.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I think that,
153.
yeah, 153. The
Yeah.
Silver
It
Lake
felt
was 210.
could have felt like it was 210.
Yeah,
Um what do you think though? I feel like it could have probably been cut down another 15 minutes. I think 153 is a little too
15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think they could have cut down a lot on this movie.
Cuz I don't think the first 20 minutes, is it fair to say the first 20 minutes is pointless?
Um,
You don't really need to see Willow before the accident of her being born.
no, I think it kind of shows the struggle, and then you're just kind of like, okay, what happened? Why? Because in the ship, like the ceiling tiles are falling off, they're broken down.
But
It
see,
just
you could even open up the film with just the word Highlife, like in that 20-minute mark, with bodies floating around, and that's how you start the movie. And then you just get into Willow's story, or not even Willow, you get into Monty's story, and then after you see Monty, you get introduced to Mia Goth for a little bit, and then you get to see the doctor or the scientist on Earth explain the guinea pig segments.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
just I know there was plenty of places that it could have been cut down.
unless you enjoyed the first 20 minutes, I mean, I really do feel like those first 17 minutes are kind of just pointless.
I feel like the box could have been cut down. Like that was a really long scene for no reason.
Yeah, it was about 35
Um,
seconds. And
it's
just
longer than that.
the
I-
the juices flowing at the end when she gets out of the box, I was just like, oh.
Yeah. I enjoyed the scenes which I don't know if it's like, I don't know the laws or regulations of movies, but the baby being completely naked,
Oh yeah. I saw that, and
I was very confused with that.
I just them showing the baby on camera.
Yeah,
I was confused a little bit.
maybe butt cheeks, but like after that, like I'm a little more than just kind of like,
Yeah, I thought
where's the line with film?
I I almost thought that the uh what can I say? The towel that was kind of wrapped around her. I thought the towel was gonna stay there, and then
And
it moved, and I was like, wait a minute. But if I could have, I think they are in. Where was this movie filmed? I mean, because it got
it's
an
R.
R rating. Okay, it is a France, United Kingdom, Germany, Poland. Like this is where the movie was
Based.
originated from and based. Filming locations: Germany, Poland.
So
So, and I mentioned it earlier in the episode that it was the budget was 8 million, but there's an E in front of that.
8 million euros.
Yeah, so I don't know what that would consume states wise. Um, Craig went silent again.
I know.
It's 8,251,676
About eight and a quarter.
Oh, okay, so not too
So
far off.
it's a little more in dollars.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. I didn't agree with the nudity of the baby. Again, I just I don't know. It's a good question though.
Because I thought obviously you had to be of consent,
Hmm. And
and
maybe it was the directors or somebody on crew's baby, but I don't even get the justice of showing that on the film.
yeah, there's no justice in it.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's it. It was that disturbed me a little bit
not part of
from
the plot,
right off the get go. Yeah.
not part of the story.
But I did like the interaction with him and the baby, where he's like, get up, and walking her, and that's what a dad does. It's you're all alone on the ship. He's sleeping with the baby to not like, in a fatherly way. He's sleeping with her, making sure she's safe. She's feeding her. She's making sure she's doing everything to grow. Some people in that situation would have just off the baby.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought the resources weren't there. Why am I having to deal with something that can't take care of itself in this situation?
This being an A24 movie, did you think at all that the baby was going to die?
I mean, they showed one of them where
Yeah.
it was a failed, baby, but she said he had strong DNA or something like that. So, I thought towards the end of the movie when the door was closed and he was outside and he was like, I need to come in. I'm contaminated. You need to step back. I thought she was going to be like, nah, like we're done. I don't want to do this anymore. Because she had talked about a lot of stuff that she had saw on TV and Earth, and she was praying, and he kind of asked her like, what are you doing?
What
And,
God are you praying to?
yeah, because I don't think that he was saying like, don't pray. I just think he was more of like, how do you know what you're doing, or why, what made you do this?
What did you think?
Overall, what?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say overall, I think the plot of the story was good. I think if they were to put that in a book and I were to read it, I think it would be a good book. I just think A24 consumed this plot in the movie and made it what it is. And like we said, it's horror. It's combined with horror. It's passengers. It's survival, space. It's like everything encompassed into this movie, and I feel like the story has really nothing to do with it. So it kind of like, I don't know. It's just I feel like it doesn't hit on anything.
Yeah, and anytime Boyce was on character or on screen, Mia Goth, I almost was like, not because of her performances or her acting, I was just kind of like holding my breath, very cringy because of just the character and what she had done so far.
Yes.
And almost like I knew she was gonna die in the movie. I was like, she's either gonna kill herself or she's gonna get killed by another person. I
Yeah,
didn't know she was gonna go out that way,
yeah.
but you know, and then just you want to talk about uncomfortable. The scene where she knows that they took the baby from her, and she's just lactating and milking all over herself.
Oh yeah.
I thought she was gonna just find any
I
way to
completely
just,
forgot about that part. Yeah.
yeah. I thought she was just gonna just find some way to off herself. I was like,
And I think that's why she took the ship
yeah, it was
and went out
so
and did that.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen this movie and you listen to us, and you decide to go back and rewatch it, it's long. There's pacing issues. You're not going to want to look away. You'll feel uncomfortable. You'll enjoy the score. You'll enjoy the eeriness.
Cinematography is great.
The cinematography is great. The dialogue, when it's used properly, is good. I think there's areas where it's kind of washy, but I think
We did an episode on a few years ago, but did you ever watch Good Time with Robert Pattinson?
no, I need to go back and watch it.
Oof. Yeah, I think you would enjoy that. Honestly, it would be a breath of fresh air compared to this movie. That movie kind of got him like going in some of these A24 movies. That one and The Rover, I believe that's the name of it.
You know what a good comparison to this movie would be?
What's that?
Not as far as like dialogue and how it's used, but just how unsettling it was. Is The Lighthouse?
Yeah,
It's in color, but it's just like so unsettling and uncomfortable the entire way through, and it's very isolated with one or two people. I think that's exactly what I would kind of consider this with.
yeah. If you're out there and you have no idea what A24 is and you start off with this one, I think this isn't a bad
It would
movie.
scare you away.
I don't think so. I think this would just intrigue you so much with the fuck box scene, with the lactating all over herself scene, with the rape scene, with and then you get into like, okay, that's unsettling. I don't know if I want to watch that.
Well,
But
that's
then,
what I'm saying. But like some people, to me, like that's unsettling, and it kind of like makes me like. I even told you I was like, dude, what am I watching with H24? Because I watched this and then Silver Lake in back-to-back days. So,
but then you see, I haven't seen Under the Silver Lake yet, so that'll be a good watch. But like, you get movies like this, and then like you get movies like The Rover with Robert Pattinson. You get movies like Good Time with Robert Pattinson, and he's just, dude, he's on another level in these movies. Even though this movie makes you feel unsettling, his performance, he just rocked it.
he did, and it's
Being
very, he's pretty much by himself for a majority of the time. There's very few people. I mean, we've talked about this. There's very few people who can command a screen by themselves. Will Smith, Robert Pattinson, who else?
Denzel,
Denzel,
Tom Hanks.
Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse. You know him
I
and Robert
think
Pattinson
Leo
kinda
can
go
do
back.
it.
There's very few that can just command a screen, being the primary person with one or two people on screen.
Is it crazy going all the way back? And I know we've beat this dead horse over and over again, but to me, it's just so mind-boggling going all the way back to Twilight and seeing how he was in that movie. Even then, even him being such a young British actor then, all the way to now with the Batman, for even in Twilight, he commands the screen. And
Yeah.
everybody was just so unsure of his character then. So being that young and like just holding it down on screen then, seeing what he does almost 20 years later with the Batman or with movies like A24, it's just like,
Well, I
dude,
think
dude's on another level. And then it's paying off again with him being in Christopher Nolan's new movie next year. Isn't he
which
in Oppenheimer?
yes, I think so. But yeah, talking about that Tenet. I mean, yeah, the dude's range is he can go big time or he can go. I kind of consider A24 the big indie, like they're very independent driven films, but they're given budgets.
Oh no,
Of,
he's in Mickey 7, which is going to be a Bong Joon-ho's new movie. which is the guy who directed Parasite.
Okay.
So
But Robert Pattinson he fits A24. He does. I think, if we go down the list and look at them, I think Robert Pattinson fits A24. I think Mia Goth definitely fits A24. Um, Andre 3000 kind of feels like he would be very good in A24 movies, just because he's out there, but you don't know a lot about him. At least I don't. I mean, I've listened to his music and all that, but he's kind of stayed away from the spotlight recently.
yeah,
So
and this was 2018. I haven't heard or seen anything that he's been in since.
since then, I kind of skimmed through some other A24 films after I watched this one, just because I subscribed to the Showtime's trial and was going through and watching them.
Do they have a lot on there?
There's a lot. There's a movie called Climax.
Oh yeah,
Where
strange.
I didn't watch it. I skimmed through it, like kind of just brushing through, like
it's
10 seconds, watch a little bit.
It's all subtitles.
And at the end, I was just like, I'm glad I didn't watch this because it was insane.
Yeah,
and
it's not. Like I couldn't find a copy here in the States, so I had to get my copy through what is it? I think it's a Germany film or it's a French film, and it contains strong sexual references, drug misuse, very strong language, strong thoughts of intercourse. It's very.
See, I didn't really watch it, so I didn't get a lot of the dialogue. I was just kind of looking and seeing like what was happening on screen. Weird.
Yeah.
Especially the ending when they, spoiler alert, the police come in and everybody's kind of just either asleep off the LSD or completely torn themselves apart.
Yeah. And there's so many great ones out there. I don't know if you've seen, and there's even some movies out there that's not even like rated R or that's like gory or nothing. 8th Grade, Bo Burnham. You've seen that one, right?
Yeah.
Another one that was almost like a coming of age teenager movie would be Lady Bird. So.
Haven't seen that one. Mallory said it was really good. There was another movie that I skipped through, which I didn't really watch any of it. I just you can see like the little pictures above the bar.
You're a huge Adam Driver fan. You like Star Wars. I think you would like While We Were Young with Ben Stiller, Adam Driver. Very good movie. Yeah.
But I had Kristen Stewart in it, and then
The Equals.
The Equals.
Yeah.
That movie looked stupid.
I haven't seen it yet. I have a few that I haven't seen it. Have you seen the movie The Captive with Ryan Reynolds, where his daughter gets kidnapped?
No, but it's on the list. I saw it and I was like,
you enjoyed Prisoners, remember?
Yeah.
I think you would like The Captive.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I like about at least these bonus episodes, like A24 month. I think just us pushing out some suggestions for not only for you, for me, for Zach, for Ed, just even for the listeners. Like write some of these movies down and just get lost.
But again, that's what I said I've been doing. It's trying to do a movie a night or something. Just checking out different stuff. I got that little trial for Showtime, so I was trying to see everything that was A24 on there. Since I'm not going to be able to go back and check it out later on after that trial.
There's some different ones on the Vudu as well. I have a lot on the Vudu. Do you have a favorite scene, at least, or two of this movie from Highlife?
Yeah.
Again, if you guys, while you talk about that, I'm going to show the poster off one more time.
So I liked when he's working on the ship at the very beginning, and the baby's crying, and he kind of loses control of the wrench, and you see the wrench just drop off into space. It's not the space that he's in is just empty. It's like if you were billions of feet up in the air and it dropped. Like there's no gravity. It didn't just float away. Like if you go off the ship, you're legit just going to drop into the void of nothing, which I think is a very different take on space and what space is.
Yeah.
I like that scene. And I liked the scene. I think it's later in the film or early on in the film. I can't remember which one. When Willow's young or old, and the ship just looks torn apart, and it's kind of the lights are all flickering. There's wires hanging. Just the way and the positioning of the cameras of it, I think was good.
If I had to pick just a scene or two, I like the cinematography shots of them eating in the garden. I think that's just a whole. I think there's some biblical feelings behind it. I think there's just, I don't know. Um, and then if I had to pick honestly another one, it's the very last scene before the end credit scene. Like, you're just you get like almost an Armageddon feeling, like like Bruce Willis sacrificing himself for the greater good, and I kind of feel like maybe it's the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
just
he's if they do whether they go through the black hole and survive, that's good. But I just something deep down made me feel like they did not survive, and he sacrificed that for something else.
yeah, I just think he didn't force her into that.
Hmm.
So I just think they kind of both knew like at some point we're going to be like we can continue with what we're doing, but at some point it ends with us.
Yeah.
So why not? If you feel like this is the right one, let's just do it.
And then I
Um,
know it's kind of grotesque, but Mia Goth's death, Boyce's death in the movie was just
oh, uh,
unsettling.
dude, I was sitting there. I was like, okay, she's gonna go into it, and then she kind of like started stretching a little bit, and I was just
Yeah.
like,
Doctor Strange,
man,
Multiverse of Madness.
a little
Yeah.
bit. The cinema, the shot of the black holes,
Oh yeah.
very very good,
Yeah.
very good. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but when it was on screen and you're watching it, and you have that score and the sound behind it, it was. I will say, like, for if you want to just watch a movie and don't know what to feel, like this is it. This is one of them. So
A great director once said that if you can go back and watch a movie on mute and still keep along and the movie keeps you interested, then the director did something right. I would like to see what this movie is like not listening to anything. I think it would still kind of demand your attention just from what's on the screen.
Um, you would have to fast forward through like it is showing them in prison,
Hmm.
but I think everything on the ship, you might be able to get away with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Star rating. If you guys have not seen an episode or watched a bonus episode yet, we have the same star rating like we do on Mondays. 1 out of 10. One being absolute gaga. 10 being as good as the Batman. So I don't think it's going to be as good as the Batman today. But Craig, your pick. You go first. Star rating.
I'm gonna give it a 5.5.
5.5.
Um, it's a unique watch. Um, I think it sets out to do what it meant to do, which is just show a bunch of second chance convicts that really don't get a second chance go out into space. And I think that what saves this movie and gives it a good score is Robert Pattinson when he's on screen, the score and the shots of just the cinematography shots, which when they're in space and showing the spaceship and everything kind of going in and out and with the ship coming into them, like I know there's not a bunch of people and there's not much the budget took, but it was good CGI
Oh
or
yeah.
or whatever they used. It was good.
See, that's what I appreciate. I like that. You gave the movie props. It wasn't kind of your cup of tea, but you still gave it like 5.5 because you know that the rewatchability is not probably going to be there. And I feel the same way. Like, I'm glad you didn't like give this movie a 7 or an 8, knowing that you're like, I'm not going to pick this movie up again. And
No, I'll probably never watch this again.
I'm the same way. I love me some Robert Pattinson. I love me some A24. You know, but on the rewatchability, I was just kind of like, why? Um, Fun movie, grabs your attention, just like you said. But if I'm going to go for an A24 movie, and if I'm going to go pick a weird, uncomfortable A24 movie, this one's not even going to be at the top of the list.
No.
So I'm going to go with a 6. And I think the only reason I'm putting it a 6 and not anything lower is because of cinematography, Robert Pattinson, score.
And
So
again, if you're watching this and you're or listening and you're going to go back and rewatch it afterwards, if you have noise canceling headphones, AirPods Pros, Sony's, Bose, do yourself a favor. And I might even have to, like, next time I see you, just have it up on my screen or something, like bring my iPad over and let you watch those scenes with the headphones. Because, dude, it was an experience. And, like, just to have that nothing happening
see,
while you're in space.
I had the speakers as loud as it could get on, the sound system. The sound stereos was booming, but it still probably wasn't the same because I
But
didn't
you,
hear it.
yeah,
I didn't hear
you
it.
get the sound, but, like, I mean, it was nothing. Like, I didn't hear the dishwasher. I didn't hear the washing machine. I didn't hear the fan or crickets or birds or cars. It was just isolation, and it was chilling. It was chilling.
So that I think we did High Life justice. Hopefully, this makes somebody want to go rewatch it, or if you've seen it, agree or disagree with us, and send us in your star rating right here on the social media, facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, Instagram, one word, the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Twitter is at Cinnamon405. Easiest and fastest way to get to us, though, email us at cinemen921@gmail.com. Send us your star rating on High Life, and we will share and read out the email bag every single Monday, including this Monday when we talk all about bodies, bodies, bodies. New A24 movie hitting theaters actually tonight. As you're watching this live, there's some viewings already happening. Pete Davidson is in the new A24 movie. So, you know what? It's getting a lot of good reviews. It's a fun slasher movie, is what I heard. I heard it Scream mixed in with Spring Breakers. So, let's see. We're going to go back to the theaters this week. You know what, Craig? I think this is the first time in a while that we've reviewed back to back movies that are in the movie theater.
Wouldn't this be 3 back to backs, or did we have something in between? Because we had Nope,
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Technically, that was still in theaters because Ed went and saw it in theaters.
technically it was in theater. That's 4 weeks in a row. It's a month in a row.
Yeah, and they're all 2022 movies. So, but you know what? It doesn't end there. August 22nd, Men is another A24 movie that's currently on Blu-ray. Just hit Blu-ray, so that's a 2022 movie. And then we end the month on August 29th with X, another 2022 movie. So,
Which, we just talked about. If you go back and rewatch this and haven't seen X, you're going to see Mia Goth, and she'll be in X as well. I think her role in X is a lot better than her role in this.
correct. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
X as a whole is a better movie.
Yeah, I can agree.
I think X is just more
it's fast paced,
modern film, whereas this is like art.
Yeah,
I get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
X's film, where this was more so on the art side.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Man, before we get out of here, do you have anything you want to plug, play, or you just ready for some bodies on Monday?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna try to go. I'm gonna see if Ed will let me off tomorrow at noon, and I'm gonna go check it out. That and maybe Marcel if it's still out and there's time. Preseason football is going on right now. I don't know if the listeners care or not, but preseason football's right around the corner. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
Hey, them boys play on Saturday, okay? Them boys play Saturday, so preseason or not, a win's a win.
Win's a win.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for, I'm getting to watch a lot of these movies that, aren't Marvel, aren't DC, aren't Disney, aren't this or that. I texted you the other day. I've watched Highlife, Under the Star Lake, and Whiplash. I watched Whiplash the other day.
Whiplash, dude.
That might be one of my favorite movies now.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember the name, the old guy's name.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons absolutely kills it.
He won an Oscar for that.
Yeah. When I told you I had chills, like my entire head was just like goosebump. Like,
you go back and listen to the soundtrack yet?
I didn't. No.
Oof. Da, 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 da.
Oh yeah, very.
Yeah.
I'm very. I'm not like artsy in the sense that I could go sit in an orchestra, but if an orchestra does a song right,
Yeah.
it's one of the best things you could listen to. So
yeah. This Monday we are talking bodies. Again, don't forget to check us out this Monday. Our top 5, Craig, you heard it first. We are talking our top 5 A24 scenes. So let's gather up all these favorite scenes that we've had from all these A24 movies, and we're going to talk and rank our top 5 A24 scenes live this Monday, August 15th, 7 p.m. as we review Bodies right here on Imsawa Live YouTube channel, or you can listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. So I think, Craig, unless you have anything else, that's it.
Oh, that's it.
All right, guys, don't forget this Monday, Bodies live on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.